Hey everybody, it's John with Terry Johnson from Firearms Legal Protection, and we had a lot of discussion on the video about 911 call about responding officers and if you have to defend yourself with deadly force, how to respond when the police show up. Because of course you're going to be on the phone with 911, you want to win the race to the phone, you want to get the cops there because you've just been assaulted with deadly force, and that's why you had to defend yourself. Officers are going to respond. So on John's briefs today, let's talk about what the best way to deal with responding officers so that you set yourself up for a successful justification of your actions.
Today's video is brought to us by the generosity of Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners. You win the fight, and they will help you win the fight after the fight for the rest of your life. There's a link in the description for a coupon code for a discount for all active self-protection watchers.
Okay, Terry, so now 911 has gotten the cops on the way and they are inbound. Now, I can tell you from experience now from a defensive shooting that one of the things that I've heard from many 911 operators is put the gun away.
Absolutely.
And my response to that when it happened to me, now I wasn't in a defensive gunfight, but I thought I had somebody in my yard and so I was armed. And they said, put the gun away. And my response was, I'll put it away when they get here.
Right.
Right. When the cavalry shows up, that's when I'm going to put the gun away. So, okay, fine. Cops show up. Officers come, lights and sirens and all that stuff. And they bring the whole party with them.
Right.
So, once they get on scene, how should we respond to set ourselves up effectively and showcase that what we did was good and legal and moral and justified?
Great question. The first advice is don't have a gun in your hand when you go to the door, when the police show up, when they come in the house, whatever the situation is. They don't know who the good guy is or the bad guy. While you know who you are, they don't. They have to do a quick preliminary investigation. Whether you put the gun down under your foot, whether you leave it somewhere, but make sure you're safe before the police come in that house.
So that means, to my way of thinking, let me know what you think, is, okay, when I hear the sirens, right, when they, because they're not going to come in all chill and park in a parking
Correct.
spot. You're going to hear the brakes screeching and all that stuff. Listen, if I've got somebody proned out or something like that, then maybe that's the time, maybe the right thing is to put the gun in the holster. Probably easier, put it on the ground because of stress, right? You're going to be all amped up. At any rate, gosh, don't go to the door or don't wave at officers. Hi, officers, here's
Exactly.
my gun. That's a great way to get shot. Okay?
Exactly.
In that moment, so the thing, I said this last night at the seminar, is that I've been in a defensive gunfight. I have a gun in my hand. No, I have dominance over this space. But the second the police show up, I have to give that dominance up and give it to them right now.
Correct.
So put the gun down, hands clear and visible, right? Hands clear and visible, because to a police officer, he is looking or she is looking at your hands to see what your intent is. So make sure your hands are clear.
No sudden movements.
And then expect to be put in handcuffs.
Exactly.
Because they got to secure the scene. This is not them hating you and saying you're a criminal. This is them making sure that everyone's safe, you and them included.
Correct.
So, of course, the second that goes down, they're going to ask, and once they figure out who's what, they're going to go, what happened?
Correct.
Now, I've had this logorrhea problem with 911. That same problem's probably showing up with responding officers.
It's even going to be worse because now you've got someone in person to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You get to look at their facial expressions. You get to read them, and you say, God, he's really not believing me, or God, he's believing me. He's sympathizing. She's not sympathizing, whatever the situation is. You don't want that. You have to, much like the 911 call, you have to train yourself to say, officer, thank you for coming.
Look at it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Guess what? Because bad guys don't thank cops for being there.
Exactly. Thank you for coming. I've called my attorney. He or she's on the way. I prefer to wait till they get here.
Okay?
Now, basic questions you can answer. What are the basic questions? My name's Terry Johnson. This is my house. Outside of that, you should say, I'm waiting for my attorney.
So recognize that when your attorney, especially if your attorney is on the line with you, if you can then say, hey, wait a minute, I need to have my attorney here. So I want to get your thoughts. The paradigm that I come from is trained by Masada U. Okay?
Yep.
And Moss says to responding officers, you want to say very little, but you want to say the right things. To establish a paradigm of I was attacked. So officer, thank God you're here.
Correct.
That guy attacked me. Point out any evidence, point out any witnesses. So he says, okay, so there was the knife he attacked me with. These 3 people all saw it. I need to talk to my attorney, and I will comply fully the second that I get a chance to confer with my attorney. Tell me what you think of that paradigm.
I think Miles is a phenomenal trainer. He comes from a law enforcement background. There are some things I disagree with, respectfully, with that.
Okay.
The police show up again, wait for your attorney. If I start pointing things out, remember, I am now making statements. You are still at a heightened level of, I'm going to say, insecurity. The logorrhea is coming out. All the things are going on. You may have wanted to say, there's a knife. It's no, wait a minute. It's over. No, wait. It's. Oh, there it is. And now the officers are looking at you, saying, you don't remember what just happened a few minutes ago. You don't. Me saying I'm a victim of a crime. Let the police do their job. You know, I kind of liken it to if you're on the freeway, you pull off an off ramp and somebody's selling fruit there. Okay, do you get out and tell them, hey, let me show you how to really sell this. Let me show you how to do X, Y, and Z. You let these people do their job. When I interfere, and I'm using those terms purposely, it is interfering, even though you're trying to help. You've got excited utterances that you're probably going to jump out. Well, I haven't been Mirandized. Doesn't matter.
The fact that you haven't been Mirandized means anything that you say can be used, right? So not having been Mirandized doesn't mean you have a magic pass to do anything you want.
Exactly. So my thoughts on this are, thank you for coming. I've called my attorney. He or she's on the way. Once they get here, we'll tell you whatever you need to be told at that point.
So I think what we see here is that, you know, among professionals who really do this stuff for a living, there's a little bit of discussion of what's the best way. And obviously Terry comes from a perspective of somebody who gets to the courtroom scene, not from more the law enforcement perspective of somebody who's doing the investigation. So which one's valid? I think they both definitely have validity. I just want you to recognize you need to train yourself to be very reticent to speak. And especially in this day and age when we have smartphones, where we can literally have our attorney with us within seconds. Within seconds to say, okay, officer, I want to talk to my attorney real quick, okay? And then I make a phone call. So this is one of the reasons I love Firearms Legal Protection. When you call the number on your membership card, an attorney picks up.
Correct.
And not a clerk, not a switchboard operator, an attorney picks up and says, okay, what's going on? Hey, you know, this is what happened, and I need some help. I'm talking to my attorney right now. And police officers know what those words mean. When you say, I need to speak to my attorney, that instantly says to them, okay, I'm not going to talk to that guy anymore. I can't ask him to make a statement. And so I'm going to go do my cop job while he's talking to his attorney. Hey, this is what went down. Here's what's going on. Okay. So then the attorney will give you some advice. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to get a local on their way, because that attorney may not be local to your jurisdiction.
Correct.
Probably won't be. In fact, you got a
Right.
1 in 50 chance they're even in your state, right? And so they're going to get locals coming on the way in a hurry, and so be reticent. Now, I like Moss's approach that says, say a couple of simple things, right? If the evidence is in danger of running off, say, okay, wait a minute, that's evidence. Watch that. If a witness is in danger of running off, if people are like, filtering away and they saw it, that guy saw what happened.
Yeah, but John, here's the thing you got to remember. You know who makes the worst witnesses in the world? People.
Well, that's true.
Because from my vantage point, I can think, this guy had to see it. Go see him. He's the one. He saw it. And the guy says, that's not what I saw, because they are not in that position.
Right.
So I don't know who's a good witness, who's not, really till they get to the stand. So if I'm pointing someone out, they may be contrary to what could be right in front of them. I mean, take a traffic accident. We've all seen those. One person says one thing, one person says another. Oh yeah, this person saw everything, and it's contrary to what you're seeing. That's why I'm a little hesitant to point out witnesses and things. Let the police do their job.
And there's an interesting bit here. So the more badge cams that we see, you see an officer in an officer-involved shooting, I'll tell you, his sergeant or her sergeant shows up, and they will tell them, because they know they're being recorded, okay? So they know the badge cam is on. And I've seen many times a sergeant go, shut up, stop talking, go sit in your car.
Right.
Go, shut up, stop talking, go sit in your car. And why? We know we're being recorded. That's good and a healthy thing and helpful for the police officers. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting for their union rep. They're waiting for their attorney to show up. Exactly. And the officer doesn't have to make a statement, usually for 48 hours.
Correct.
So two sleeps that they get, and abilities to kind of decompress and figure that stuff out, and then the other officers will go and do their job. So here's the thing: as a defensive trainer, sitting here with an attorney who knows this stuff, I'm trying to pull you back from the logorrhea. So the advice is say as little as possible. That doesn't mean, you're not going to look at the cop and go, heck with you, pig, I'm not telling you nothing, blah, blah.
Right,
You don't want to
don't do
become the
that.
enemy, because that's what they're looking for. Officer, I want to help fully. I need to talk to my attorney. I want to help fully. Thank God you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank God. That guy attacked me, and I need to talk to my attorney. And then I'll comply fully. And
Right.
once the attorney starts getting there, then the attorney will start going, okay, tell me what happened. And you can talk to your attorney with attorney-client privilege. And so
Exactly.
if you get logorrhea all over your attorney, that's okay, because they'll never be forced to say, what did you say in that meeting? Because when you say the stupid things, they'll be able to just go, that was a stupid thing, and he didn't mean that.
And here's the other part. I, as an attorney, can say anything to the police. It's not a statement for you. So if I make a mistake and say, nope, this was over here, or you tell me that, and you're like, no, I thought about this, the knife wasn't here, it was there. I can put all that together, and that statement's not held against you, because I put it in the best light
Ooh.
possible.
That is an interesting paradigm, that when the attorney makes a statement, it's not you making a statement, because the attorney could be wrong, and so that's not going to be held against you.
Correct. The only statement that's made is when you either write it or say it in front of the police. So if you tell me something right now, and I come back to your cameraman and say, this is what John said, well, wait a minute, I might be wrong. Let me double check. I can go back and firm some things up with you and then come back. Or I can say, okay, John, this is what I want you to say. This is how, are you sure about
That's how we need
this?
to articulate this.
Exactly. So the attorney's that buffer if and when a statement needs to be made.
Yeah.
Much like the police have their union rep or their union attorney come out. It's the exact same thing.
So I'm not saying to say nothing, okay? Again, we're not, it's not, there's no rote script here. There's nothing
Correct.
like a little card that says, my name is Bill. I was in fear for my life. I will press charges. I need to speak to counsel. That's not, listen, any cop is going to know that that's just setting you up to look like a doofus, okay? But what we want to say is, I want your mindset to be pull back and be as reticent as possible
Exactly.
to speak, because that's going to fight the logorrhea a little bit. And I know having seen it a whole bunch, you're not going to probably say nothing. But if we pound into your head to say nothing, then you'll probably say little, and that's better.
Exactly. And it's kind of two different worlds. Again, all the respect in the world for the police. They do a phenomenal job. Their job is to do an investigation. And you telling them what happened or what's going on. And let me tell you, if there's a shooting involved, 98% of the time you're going to jail, regardless, because someone's been shot, deadly force has been used. They're going to continue that investigation. We want to try and talk our way out of this by saying, did you see what he was wearing? Did you see what he looked like? We want to add things in that have nothing whatsoever to do with it. Allow your attorney on the other side to do his job or her job, and let them do everything they can, because sometimes there's conflicting interest between, let's say, a criminal defense attorney and a police officer. They're not necessarily looking for the same thing.
Well, and let's recognize, so I think there's an important bit here, that we recognize that you're going to get put in handcuffs.
Correct.
Officers don't know who's who, so they're going to start asking questions and doing an investigation. And there's a good chance that you're going to end up going to the police station, that you're going to end up, even if that's an arrest that lasts a couple of hours. And don't think that that means, oh no, I'm going to prison for the rest of my life. This is part of the process. This is securing the scene. For the moment, we got to figure out who the heck you are. Now, in some jurisdictions, that might not happen. You may get released from cuffs. The officer goes, man, clearly that guy, all right, let's look at the surveillance video that was in that convenience store. Oh, dude threatened you with a knife and you shot him. Yeah, okay. Let me take the cuffs off you, sir. Let's talk about what's going on. I still need to talk to my attorney. I get all that stuff. Oh, okay. Can I ask you some questions? Once I'm talking to my attorney, we'll
Exactly.
absolutely answer your questions. And then go from there. And then I think we don't have to talk a whole lot about this, but when you're talking to the detectives later, you never talk to the detectives without your attorney present.
Correct.
Ever, 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 ever,
Ever.
ever.
Right.
And I do see people sometimes talk to the press. Because, of course, the press are going to stick a mic in your face and a camera and want information about it. Never talk to the press. ever.
It's as bad as talking to social media, because what you see on the news, that 30-second or 45-second clip, there's way more to it than that. They may have been recording you for 10 minutes or whatever. And the reason I bring that up is the prosecution can get their hands on the raw footage, what's not being placed on the news. And there are things that are behind that that you don't even know that you're doing or saying sometimes, or things that have been overheard. So a mic's in your face, it's worse than talking to a detective.
I don't have a statement to make to the media in any capacity. Talk to my attorney. That's it, period, and end of subject. So,
Correct.
okay, so we've got that same paradigm here. 911 call, say little, pull back, be very reticent. Responding officers, say little, pull back, be very reticent. I get it, and I value Moss's advice to
I
point
do
out,
too. He's a good guy.
I was the one who was attacked. Here's any evidence that I know of and any people that I know that were in the vicinity. Okay, let the officers do their thing. I get it. Pull back, say as little as you can. And tell yourself that. Say as little as I can. Make sure there's no gun in your hand when the officers arrive. Whether you've put it back in your holster, which again is dangerous because you're really amped up, or when you hear the sirens show up, you hear the brakes squeal, put the gun on the ground, okay? Safely put it on the ground, have those hands up. So then that way you're setting yourself up for your attorney to be able to do the right thing in the aftermath. Because now what we're doing is the second that fight is over, we got to win this fight after the fight for the rest of our lives. So, Terry, thanks so much for the additional insight.
Anytime, thank you.